Do you think he was a good choice?
No.
Why do you think so?
Because he basically, from my perspective, he's another liberal Democrat. He's a career politician. He's been in the Senate forever. He could be a wonderful man. At the Democratic Convention, he seems to have a wonderful family story. I respect that. He has at least one child that's about to join the military to serve in Iraq, so he does have an appreciation as a father as to what that's like. So when he does vote to say, to approve or not approve of military use, and a few times the Senate actually gets involved with that, he does have appreciation. But as far as spending is concerned, I see no superiority over him. One thing that really stands out about Biden is I remember during the Senate, the judiciary confirmations, forgive me, and I forget which of the two justices, but Robertson, a brilliant man, and Biden was coming, come on, because he wasn't getting the answers. It was clear that he was just going after the judge because he was conservative, and he's a liberal, instead of asking to see if he was truly qualified. To me, Biden wanted to disqualify him because of Roe versus Wade. Now, if Ruth Bader Ginsburg can say, I'm not going to comment because this might come before me, or something very similar to that, why would you not accept the same standard for a Republican nominee?
Do you think he has any strengths?
No.
I mean, what strength? And why isn't that?
Well,
not because he's a Democrat, not because he's liberal. His spending may be off the Richter scale, but he was chosen for some reason. Why do you think that was?
I have no idea. I mean, because you mentioned the things that are important, spending. I mean, what redeeming quality does he bring to the office? I can't think of any. Spending is a big issue to me. He hasn't done anything about that. I don't remember what his stance is in Iraq. By the way, I have to say very quick when we're talking about defense, the Democrats have got to accept responsibility for authorizing that. Half of them voted to support that. And to say that Hillary Clinton did not take the time to do her own investigation on Iraq is horsepucky. Her husband, she had access to President Bill Clinton. Okay? Bill Clinton said to Saddam Hussein was a threat. The vice president did. Tom Daschle did. Half the Democrats did. I go back to my own home state of Indiana. Evan Bayh did. Okay? You do not take the word of a guy you think is a blundering idiot and a guy that half of your party thinks stole an election. You do not take his word alone on intelligence. You do, if you're a United States Senator, particularly if you're on the Defense Committee, you do your own independent investigation. You've got the authority to call the CIA. You could talk to the National Security Advisor. You could call Clinton up and see, what did you know? You could call Tony Blair up and find out what he knows.
Do you think that it's very, very possible that the Congress wanted a war? Because here's the thing for me. It was determined in large part that 9/11 was the result of Al-Qaeda, of the Taliban, and of Osama bin Laden. Yet we didn't wage a war to go find him. We didn't dig him out of a rat hole.
No, we didn't.
He's still sitting in wherever he's sitting, laughing at us and sending us tapes every 2 months. So what I'm not understanding, even when people said we need more troops in Afghanistan, we need to finish what we started there, we need to stop going into people's country, waging a war, tearing it up, and then when we leave them in a mess and we go on to the next thing on the chessboard. So even if Saddam Hussein did have weapons of mass destruction, why did we go after him and not who tore our country up?
The second question is, as far as why did we go after him, the first question of why didn't we continue to pursue him,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why I'm not part of the 13% or so of the people that approve of George W. Bush. We had him in Tora Bora. The B-52 bomber was following around. After roughly 3,000 people are murdered on your own soil, you send in the Rangers. You send in Delta Force. You do not rely on the local tribes. You do not let the CIA pay off the local tribes and hope they turn the guy over. You send in your 1 million troops of the United States military and you nail the guy.
True.
As a result of that, we now think he is in Pakistan. We don't go into Pakistan because we know they have nuclear weapons. If we go into Pakistan with any real troop movement, they will nuke us.
Then why didn't we go into Pakistan in the first place?
I have no
If
idea.
we know they have nuclear weapons, if we know that's where he is, then why are we not there? Who do we have in our pocket that we can't go in there and say, hold it, Afghanistan, we know that you might still need us, but we have more important business over here?
That's a mystery to me because the guy who, I think it's Musharraf, I can't remember his exact name, but the military dictator that we've been propping up in Pakistan, he's a military dictator. Supposedly he's our ally, but I haven't seen no evidence in the 6-7 years that we've been doing business with this guy that he's doing us any good as far as the war on terror or getting bin Laden.
Now we have now let's talk about the war.
Let's go to Iraq.
Let's go to Iraq. Let's fast forward.
Okay.
And let's talk about our decorated POW.
Sure.
We really don't need to hear that story again.
Yeah. Agreed.
With all due respect,
Agreed.
my father's a war veteran. I lost friends in Vietnam, and it's kind of like we've heard it, we understand it, we get it.
Let me address the question of why we're in Iraq.
It's kind of like why A, why are we in Iraq? And B, what do people think that McCain would do and handle differently if he was the president?
The reason we're in Iraq is because of the theory. First of all, to a small extent, Saddam Hussein was aiding and abetting some of al-Qaeda terrorists. We know that for a fact. It was a small percentage, but for example, some of them were treated in Iraqi hospitals. That doesn't happen when Saddam Hussein was in power unless he's authorizing it. Okay, so we know that they were in bed. The theory was, and I still thought it was possible, the theory was not that Saddam Hussein was involved in 9/11, but that he would get together with the terrorists that were involved, give him the nukes that we thought that he was developing so that he could so that they could attack us. In other words, he would form a coalition, and because we thought he was close to getting nuclear weapons and he hated us, we went in to prevent that. Unfortunately, once we found out that they didn't have all of these things, we had an intelligence problem. I'm going to give Bush the benefit of the doubt because I really think the intelligence indicated Tony Blair thought it. That's another conversation. But once you find out that they don't have the weapons, once Uday and Qusay are dead and Saddam is under wraps, you need an exit strategy.
True.
Rebuild the country to the extent that you bomb the daylights out of it, because that's the right thing to do. But this idea that we have to provide elections and all the schools that we have to build, that's great and wonderful. But again, we went in there on the premise of national defense, and now what's going on apparently is there are terrorists from other countries are coming in, and we didn't use the PAL doctrine. We didn't go in. They thought that they could go in, kick some butt, be done in 6 months, and get out. Okay. They were woefully wrong.
But haven't we been wrong a lot in these wars that we've gone into?
Yes.
We don't always know everything that we need to know. And the thing that's scary to me is that a lot of times, and I go back to Vietnam again, because that's the generation I grew up in, so I kind of know it better, is where we're going knows more about us than we know about them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand completely.
So whoever's doing the reconnaissance, what are they doing? And what about the theory that Saddam did not have WMDs, or he didn't have the ones that he claimed to, but Iran did? And what